Hey, everybody. It is your girl, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Ava Cherie, the Inspire. How you guys doing? So I am up burning the midnight oil as per usual, and I wanted to come to share some opinions, my unpopular opinions, perhaps, but I wanted to share them nevertheless. It was laid upon my heart, my spirit to go into corporate prayer and fasting if you can for our children. I mentioned in many vlogs back that I got a vision in February 2022 or January. And the vision was that the enemy, which is the darkness, spirit, the devil, is after our children. So rev up to now, going into October 1st, there's so many harsh crimes being committed by juveniles. So many deaths here in Philadelphia, Delaware, tri-state area, which is Jersey, New York, and I'm sure everywhere else around the country. It was laid upon my heart so heavy once I got back into the States. There was 100+ juveniles that mobbed a Wawa, which is like a quick stop in the Midwest. So Wawa gas station type of convenience store. They just mobbed it and wrecked it. I might try to remember to put the link below. It was on all the news channels, and it was like people with their children in this convenience store getting gas, getting snacks, and it was over 100 juveniles, teenagers, who just went through as an angry mob and tore that place to shreds for no reason. They infiltrated the gas pumps. They were very dangerous. And I've just never seen waves of our children losing their minds. And I wanted to come this week that just closed out and do a vlog. I was hoping I didn't miss the message that God was downloading, because I got wrapped up in some things just getting back. I try not to get too far off course when I get a vision or I have a dream or have a word downloaded to my spirit. But I just want you to pray for our children beyond the normal prayer. I want you to go into warfare for kids you've never seen, because this wave of ignorance and intolerance and dangerousness is going to affect generations to come. Also, these game stations, be very careful how much these entertainment devices and music and things of that nature is really storing up data and memory and taking up space in our children, our tweens and younger. They have kids 10 and up killing each other, carjacking, jumping on people that they consider elders, which they can be in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. You can't correct these kids. Young females mobbing with these young guys. And I'm talking about 10 and up. So what I wanted to say is this also, which is part of my unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but it comes from a sincere place. I haven't had any backlash on these streets, so I'm going to continue to be my truest self. I'm going to ask that all of us parents put the phone down, put the social media down. That should play not first, not secondary, not even third to your child. That should be a last resort late in the midnight hour. Getting on the social media should not be the first thing you do in the morning. Your kids don't need to see you on the phone so much. The kids don't need to see us always posting and live and in video and everything. And when I see those angry teenagers doing that, even with the killings that's coming on the news, everything is recorded, but nothing has been proactive in saving life. I've also seen when I got back that there was a bunch of drag racing in Wildwood, New Jersey that killed 14 people because people migrated from Ocean City, Maryland to Ocean City, New Jersey, and they wanted to do these drag races, and it killed a father and his 3 daughters, and it killed other people, women and children and men. And what I want to say is put the phones down. If it ain't related to serving, praise, job, money to feed your family and your community, put it down. Don't make social media your priority. It is a very dangerous thing when we get so consumed on video and things instead of preserving life. My concern is, how can you video a death? How can you video or have someone say, turn the video on when I go knock somebody's head off, or turn a video on when I go to rob this person, this star, this celebrity, this nobody, so you can see what I'm doing and commit my crime. That is an alarming situation. We've seen people sneaking in people's driveways, jacking them for their car with their children now in the car, dragging girls out. It has become so barbaric and no mercy being shown. Before, back in the day when I was being raised, there's no harm done to women and children. There is none of that anymore. And not that I want harm done to our men, but at the same time, these kids have no guidelines, no grid. They're off the grid. They're caught in the matrix of dangerousness, because what's going to happen and how the devil wants this to go is that we're going to arm ourselves and we're going to start laying these kids down. But these are the same kids that we've been bringing into this world, carrying in our wombs. These are the same kings and queens that the enemy is trying to stop from repopulating the earth and bringing life and purpose and gifts to fruition. I'm very, very concerned at how we get ready to have to start laying them down. What we have to lay down, though, is our phones, making Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and whatever other thing that you're tapped into, making that your priority over God, over your children, letting your kids grow up watching you do that. I've had a vlog about that before. They're watching us do this all day that they can't wait to do it at 2 and 3 years old. My grandson can unlock a phone and he is 1. So what I'm asking in your prayer is that God gives each of us the strength to demonstrate the model and infiltrate the environment of how we want our children to behave, be proactive and productive in front of them. So yes, they're going to have a choice to do right or wrong. All of us have that choice. But what is the most they see? What do they feast on? Where is the majority of their time being spent? Because a lot of the crimes I've seen that's on the news that's went viral, they're playing out these video games and then they're videoing themselves to get popular on social media. So these are two things they're battling. They don't have no guideline, no grid, because their parents is somewhere allowing themselves to be consumed with the same things. Put your phone and social media down. Put it down. When we didn't have that, it wasn't back in the day, yesteryear. It was less than 20 years ago when you didn't have the means to text or the means to FaceTime or the means to post everywhere you're going to be or the means to go viral because that's what you needed to feed your ego. It came from the muscle. And then if you didn't have those things and you still later grew up and got in trouble, that was pro-choice. But we spent time. And then I'm not going to say every parent spent time. Even back then, it was drugs, there was addicts. I understand. But dang, addiction ain't go nowhere. Drugs and guns ain't go nowhere. So now you add a layer of social media and this harsh gaming systems. What do you have but barbaric children being raised by themselves? And we call them smart because they can operate a smartphone. We call them smart because they can upload an app or download an app. We call them smart because they know how to navigate for hours at a time on what looks to be a kiddie game or a kiddie entertainment. And sometimes it's not. We say they're smart and well-mannered because they're consumed for 3.5 to 7.5 hours on the same thing. No, they ain't consumed. You consume your kid. You get in their face. You get on their nerves. You bust down their door. You read to them. Everything ain't automated. They didn't ask for an automated parent. You get in there, you go and you get on their nerves and sit with them on the end of their bed and pray with them and talk to them and ask them about their day. Have them articulate. Go back to writing paragraphs. Express yourself. Because when I worked in the courts, all these kids and adults used to say, I have a hard time expressing myself. Well, I wonder why. Because what you talking to all day ain't talking back to you. It ain't correction in that. It's one-sided. I can pick it up when I want to. I can unlock my phone when I want to. I can post what I want to. I can post and make it look like I want to. Ain't no correction in that. It's all falsehood. Why would we think that that's beneficial? Why would we think that's here to help us? And why would we think that that's God sent if it's no correction on the other end? God is correction. He is not the author of this confusion. So stop souping yourself up to think that it's okay if my babies is just on the internet in the other room and they being good and well behaved and well mannered and they quiet. They quiet because they sneaking and they're downloading that stuff and dissecting that stuff on their own. Where are you at to teach them what's right and what's wrong, even in what they're looking at? You gonna let them look at it. Don't let it raise them. So now we got to go out here and get armed to lay down teenagers. What? And then you're going to want to be in somebody's face when somebody lay your kid down. You want to put all the charges of the law on somebody because they protecting their family and their belongings. You got to pick. You got to pick. What you give birth to is what you're supposed to nurture, raise, encourage, put principles and values and morals and beliefs, teach them consequence. Teach them you bet not. Not sometimes, all the times. Because when you unleash that baby at 10 and 11, 12 and tweens and teenage years, when you unleash them to the world, you can't govern how somebody going to lay them down when they come and violate. So pray for them. And I pray for every parent that's had a lapse in judgment and allowing a social media or a smartphone that's dumb dictate, predicate, and raise your child. It did not impregnate you. God set that seed in there. You nurture it. You on duty with that. That's your watch. You ultimately, whatever our children get into, the areas we fall short, sometimes is our fault. You can do the best that you can do, but don't lie to yourself. And don't leave it for the community to do what you could do because you're so busy trying to worry about what you look like. Because trust and believe, just because you on there and you cute, don't mean you made good decisions and that's going to get you no man or no woman that's better than the last you had that didn't show up for your baby, that ain't pay no child support, that ain't pay you or your baby no mind. So why are you posting so much? Why are you making that your priority when you the last thing on the list for somebody else? What's most important? Making somebody say you fly so they can come smash and don't give a daggone about you or your babies? Or making sure your baby know he or she is priority and that you are more than that and that I value you and that you are a gift to this world and there's nothing that supersedes that but God, that I got time for you. I'm going to always have time for you. Because there's some parents that learn about what their kids going through and doing in the other room because they on their kids' Instagram. Instead of not even knocking, kicking down the door and asking what the heck going on with you. There's people that's finding out more about their children and their loved ones on the internet than having person-to-person communication. So that's all I have to say. Go into prayer for every one of us with children and nieces and nephews and grandkids. Pray because there's a target on their back because they're not paying attention to the right things and they think it's a game. And unfortunately, I pray against that these evil entities and these spiritual entities are trying to take these kids out for a reason. And I pray that these adults and the people that they're violating don't start laying them down. Because guess what? I'm going to go into life insurance business because y'all think it's a joke. And unfortunately, Big Mama and them used to say, you shouldn't have to bury your kids should bury you. Well, that ain't what we seeing nowadays. So I ain't going to be stupid. I'm going to go into life insurance. Best believe that. Because I'm going to make sure all my people got enough to bury their own. Don't have to get no GoFundMe. Okay? Because everybody wants to be accelerating their baby life and death. No. Take your baby off the phone. Take your locations off. Don't have nobody knowing where you at and what you're doing every 5 minutes. And if you're doing something stupid in your video, and look, if I go to court with mine, they video something back in the day, if it was that time and they had these types of tools to use, child, they would have been embarrassed in that courtroom because I'd have tore their ass up, okay? So, and they'd have been going to jail for videoing it because I'd have told them to put them in jail, okay? So, whew, Lord, I'm sorry, cuss, I said ass, all right. So, I just wanted to come to say, please take time out to pray multiple times a day for these populations. Pray for the families that are losing their children at warp speed. Pray for our leaders. Pray for more leaders to be bold enough to go out in the communities and do a new thing. And it's still dangerous even for the leaders, but the ones that are called and the ones that are chosen have divine assignment and they know their instruction. And God's guardsmen and guides and angels are all encamped around them. And God's word will not return void. If he says go forth, go forth. And rest assured that God is going to have you and your babies. And I'm going to start praying tonight for our children. And I encourage you to do the same. Each and every person around the world. Corporate prayer, corporate fast, intermittent praying throughout the day. Make it count. Make it worth it, because your baby is worth it. All right. This is your girl, Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Ava Cherie, the Inspirer. Until next time, God's love, God's peace, God's joy to you.